Good afternoon, everyone. Hot mic. It is a hot mic. For those of you who don't know me, I am Michelle Harrington, and I am the benefits manager for the City of Manchester and retirees. Full disclosure, we are being recorded today, so just so you know that. MPTV is upstairs, so we can share this with people who cannot attend. So I'm going to introduce Jolene Rambone. She is from HSA Bank, and she's going to go through a presentation, tell you about HSA Bank, but also what the process is going to be as we transition to the new bank. For those of you who are wondering why we're switching, it's because we've had some issues with Benefit Wallet, and they are also switching to a bigger, they've just been taken over by a bigger organization. So we felt this was the time to go out and look for a more customer-friendly organization. And thus far, that is what we have experienced, and I think that the employees are going to be really happy, and retirees will be really happy about this. So I'm going to let Jolene take over. And questions as you go along, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. If questions come up, I do ask that you speak loudly. This is a big room, and I have pretty good hearing loss. So, and Michelle will help me too, and I'll make sure I repeat questions on the phone. So,
hold up a little bit more, just a little. There you go.
As Michelle said, my name is Jolene. I am from HSA Bank. I've been with the bank for 6+ years, and I do agree. I would not be at this company, I would not be in this position if I did not believe in the product that I was able to promote and consult with in adding employer groups on. So we really do have some great tools, resources. I know HSAs probably aren't the most important thing you're thinking about in life. You might find that I'm probably a little bit too passionate about health savings accounts and all that they can do for us. Even family members of mine, they don't dare ask too many questions or tell me that they don't max out their HSA at family parties. But I promise there's no judgment if you do not. But today, I'm going to be talking about some of the benefits of HSAs. We'll talk about that a little bit later, because I think you're probably all thinking, how the heck is our money going to get over from Benefit Wallet? How does the open enrollment or opening of accounts happen? So we're going to talk about that. And then on the next slide, so as you know, this will be effective. I believe Michelle's put some information out there, but this is going to be effective on March 1st. So this is sort of what we call an off-cycle move, right? Because your benefits are in line with 7/1, but an HSA is a bank account, right? So this can be moved anytime throughout the year. So this is going to happen effective March 1st this year. As far as opening your bank account, you actually don't need to do anything. It's a really nice thing about health savings accounts is that we can work with Michelle and team and open these accounts up on your behalf, which is great. So we're going to work with that. Again, they'll be effective on March 1st. And then once we get those enrollments in, so we're actually working with Michelle and team to get those enrollments, at least starting the process this week, that's going to initiate debit cards and welcome kits that will be going out to you, which is great. You'll have all this in hand before March 1st. It's still crazy, it's already February already, but you will have those in hand before the 1st of March. And then as far as existing balances, we're gonna go through exactly what you need to do to get those existing HSAs at Benefit Wallet. If you choose to, you can merge those funds over to HSA Bank, and we've done some things to make it easier for you as well. So as I mentioned, you're going to be getting welcome kits in the mail. So in that welcome kit will be some of the information we're going to talk about today. I did bring some flyers with me too that you can grab. Some of those will be in there. They'll have your account number in there, so you can actually go ahead and log into your member website even before 3/1. But again, remember, there's no money in it until after your effective date, and you have some payroll processing. And then you'll find information on assigning a beneficiary in there, authorized signers. So just anything that pertains to the HSA, you'll find info in there. And then how to access your member website as well. So that should be arriving if we get in the enrollments this week. by, some of you could get it by the end of this week if we get them in tomorrow or the next day, but most likely, most of you will see them by early to mid next week. And even some of you never know with them, it's dependent on the U.S. mail system. It could be by the end of next week as well. So you'll get that first, and then after that, you'll expect to get the debit card. This is going to be in a separate, non-labeled envelope. This is for your just security purposes because it is a debit card coming in the mail. We don't, put flashing lights of, hey, this is an HSA Bank debit card. So you'll get that second, and that usually takes 7 to 10 business days. And the welcome kit takes 5 to 7. So again, you get the welcome kit, just be on the lookout, think, okay, I know my debit card's coming shortly after, okay? And then as I mentioned, you can access your website, you can look at the beneficiary information, authorized signers, and also just access any of these resources that I'll talk about today. So as far as I want to talk about being an HSA Bank member, right? So some of the tools and resources, and then we'll talk about transferring your funds over to HSA Bank. So with our solution, you're going to get that debit card. You're also going to have access to the member website, and then you're going to have access to a mobile app, which you likely have today. Our mobile app is very user-friendly, and it's pretty much identical to what you're getting on the website. So you get used to what you're seeing on the website, you're going to see pretty much the same exact thing right on the mobile app. On there, you can check balances, you can make transactions. I'll talk about some ways to access your money through your mobile app. You can actually add your debit card to, if you have Google Pay, Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, you can add it there if you don't feel like carrying your debit card around. Or, of course, you can just access your money through your debit card, too. You can order additional debit cards. You can order checkbooks. So there's a lot of different things that you can do right through the mobile app and your member website. And you can see the links in there, too. If we end up sending this out, you can access it right there. And, again, that will be all in your welcome kit. So you have HSA Bank as of 3/1. You start streaming payroll. Contributions will go through there. You get your money from Benefit Wallet. How do you access it? So, of course, same as today, you're going to have a debit card. The debit card, we really want to use that in what we call real-time service or real-time data transactions like the pharmacy, over-the-counter medications, because we know the exact price of those. When you're someone, you go for a sick visit or you go for a sprained ankle to an urgent care, you want to let that process through your insurance company because there's contracted rates. And almost all providers know this because high deductible plans have been around for a long time now. They're not asking, they just kind of send you out the door, right? They're not asking for you to pay at time of service anymore. You let that process, and then you can, if you need to use your card or want to use your card, you get the EOB in the mail, or you get a bill in the mail, or you can even sign on to an app nowadays for certain providers, and you can go ahead and put your debit card. Once you know the exact payment, you can go in and pay there. Another option is you get that bill, you can go to your member portal, and you can put in payee information, and this is going to be your provider. And you can go ahead, we're going to pay your provider. So you put their information in, we ask for certain credentials, and then we'll go ahead and cut them a check, or likely we send them the money if we have their information on file. So that's another way you can pay them. If you are a paper person, or you really like to balance your checkbooks, you can order checkbooks from HSA Bank, and this is free of charge too. So we do not charge you if you do want to, but we do not send everybody checkbooks right off the bat either, because we know that not everybody is going to use them. We try to save some trees, but you can order them free of charge and utilize them. And then my personal favorite is paying out of pocket with a personal credit card, and then if needed, reimbursing myself at a later date. And I do this, number one, because I want Delta mile points so I can fly places. And then number two, I'm a big believer of trying to save my HSA for the future in retirement while I'm working now. Obviously, injuries happen. I'm going to do my best not to tap into my HSA for any medical expenses I have now. But the really nice thing about reimbursing yourself is you can do it anytime throughout your entire lifetime. So that's one of the strategy that most people are not aware of, that I've probably spent, I have a cochlear implant, let's just say 10 to 15 grand in the last 5 years on different hearing items and services. I didn't use my HSA, and I can reimburse myself tax-free that 10 to 15 grand from my HSA at any point for the rest of my life, tax-free. So again, really interesting, different strategy. Not too many people are talking about it, but it's definitely something that's really nice to have as a little chunk of cash that could come back to you tax-free, especially if you're someone who's a few years out from retirement, or even 10, 15 years. It's a nice strategy to have a lump sum of cash tax-free. So ways that you get the reimbursements too, just really quickly, again, you can do direct deposit right into a bank account. I've personally connected my own bank account for 2 reasons. One, if I choose to reimburse myself, I will just go ahead and simply plug in the transaction. If I did reimburse myself 10 to 15 grand, it will go through. Nobody's policing it at HSA Bank, nobody at the city, but the IRS, obviously, that might trigger something with the IRS when you go to do your taxes. They would just need to know what it was used for. But for the most part, again, these are individually owned bank accounts, and nobody's really asking questions, but you should be asking yourself questions of, was this an eligible expense that I'm reimbursing myself for? But you can go ahead and initiate that transaction right from your member website and your mobile phone. The other reason to connect a bank account is to also have money go the other way. So if you're someone who does not max out your HSA upfront through payroll, you can actually go ahead and put money in post-tax up until the tax deadline. This is something I do every year because my company does give me some incentive for different wellness initiatives, and sometimes you're $50 off or $100 off where I didn't max it out. So what I do is I put money into my HSA and I just account for it when I go to do my taxes. So, because I want to make sure I'm maxing it out, and you could even wait till the last day, guilty at some time in my life. I'm sure I put money in my HSA on the last day on April 15th. So you just have to work with your tax person to make sure you've accounted for that. And then you can also get a check from HSA Bank. Just takes a little bit longer for reimbursement. We have tons of resources for you. I won't list them all, but just know you could even go and Google HSA Bank or go to hsabank.com. You'll find many of this stuff is publicly accessible. So if you're interested, we even have a YouTube channel. There's just tons of resources out there for you on HSAs and even other solutions that you may have. If you have a dependent care or something, you could always find that. There's videos, there's calculators. If you're someone who's like, I want to figure out how much am I going to have in retirement if I put aside X amount into my HSA, average growth on it, and then it would calculate based off of your age and when you're expected to retire. So again, just some really nice tools. And then on the next slide here, you'll see that we also have some live webinars. These have been happening for about 1.5 years live. We did have some recorded ones, but this has been very well received because you're actually getting people presenting to you. You can engage, you can ask questions, and we invite any of our members to go to these. So if you could start with the first one, which you're already in the right plan, you have the HSA plan, so I'd really say HSA 101 and beyond would be for you. So kind of beginning level HSA information. If you're someone who's interested in investing, we have an investing course that you can take and again, ask questions. If you're someone who's nearing Medicare age, definitely that's a great one to attend because there are so many questions when it comes to HSAs and Medicare. And things are always changing. One day we hope that it's not even a topic because HSAs are just allowed with Medicare, but right now you cannot contribute if you are on Medicare. You can have it and use it, but you cannot contribute, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So transferring your current benefit wallet HSA. So we've tried to make it as easy as possible, but you do still have some options. So first option is you choose to transfer it, and we have an electronic consent process, which I've seen quite a bit of people have actually already done it, which is great. You can also use the paper version, and you'd be a part of this, what we're calling a bulk transfer. We are asking that regardless if you do the e-consent or the paper, you get that in to either signed or to HR, Michelle, by 2/21, all right? So that's if you are planning to transfer. If you miss the boat on that, you can still transfer. You're not stuck staying where you are. If you want to transfer one day, could be 6 months, could be years from now, you can choose to do that. You would just do it outside the bulk transfer process, and you would be subject to paying a fee, unfortunately, to Benefit Wallet. So usually it's around $25, okay? So the second option is you keep your money where it is. You know, why would you do that? Say you're someone who has $100 in there or $50, and you're like, you know what, I'm just going to spend that down. I know I have some expenses coming up. Feel free, you're welcome. And this, again, these are your bank accounts, so nobody's forcing you to do anything, but you have the option of keeping it where it is. Just know that Benefit Wallet will charge a monthly admin fee, and I believe that's $350.
Yeah.
Yep, okay, so it is, yeah, $350. So, again, so actually the next slide will go through the timeline of why it's important, again, to make sure that you're in line with timing of getting the consent in. So you can see here that e-consent, electronic consent is, again, going to be the easiest, but the paper version, if you want to fill that out, we have some today. I know Michelle will have some on hand. The window for this, for the bulk transfer process, is from 2/1, so it's already open. Like I said, we've had a bunch of people do it through 2/21. Then the funds will start to transfer, so they're going to stay in there for a little while. They'll start to transfer on 3/12. So beginning on 3/12, you may still have the Benefit Wallet card. You'll not be able to access that money anymore, right? Because it's being plucked from there, and then it goes into the land of banking, and then it will come to us. Now, the expected date is going to be 3/25. So it does take some time, and you believe it or not, this is actually quick compared to when you do an individual. We could say it takes 4 to 6 weeks sometimes, because there's really no necessarily regulation on when the incumbent gets us that money. A little crazy, but we do know when you'll get your money. So during that time, you won't have access to those funds, but you will have access to any new funds that have gone to HSA Bank, your new account, through payroll. So that's the nice thing, that you will have a payroll hit, I believe. So
yeah, so I know because we're doing off cycle, so everybody's already received, most people have received their contributions for this plan year. So what's going to be in your HSA bank account will just be 2 weeks worth of your own contributions. You're not going to have any more city contributions because we've done for the plan year. So just keep that in mind. It takes a while anyway for those bills to process. So usually by the time you get them from your doctor, you're going to have your money over at HSA Bank, and you'll be able to pay your bills that way. But like Jolene said, you can pay for things up front and then reimburse yourself. So like Jolene, I use my JetBlue card, so it's the way to do it. I learned that from some employees at one particular department in the city who utilize that quite a bit.
awesome. All right, so with the e-consent, and I'll show you step-by-step process, just know that you will need the access code. So you'll have the link. I know Michelle sent an email out. We have other emails planned to send out if you haven't done so yet. Just keep that access code on hand. And again, if you do not make the cutoff by 2/21, unfortunately, you will, if you transfer a later date, again, we just want to make sure you know you will be charged that $25 fee from Benefit Wallet. So it's definitely some incentive to get that in before that date. So next slide. Again, you'll click on the link, enter the access code, and you'll see the screen on the next slide, just kind of a step-by-step. You can see here, so it's asking you to put the code in. Once you put that code in, you click next or submit. this is stuff you want to read, right? A lot of us, we go through this and we might not read it, but it is important information. If you're someone who has investments out there at Benefit Wallet, give some information on that. And again, you're giving us consent to move your own money. So it's a very short blurb. You can see there, important information. You scroll down a little bit and you'll see what you need to put in for this. This could be, depending on how fast of a reader you are, 3 to 5 minutes of your time to do this. So you really just need your first and last name, you need to know your social security, and then you click accept. That's how easy it's going to be. And then from there, you submit it, press submit down there, and then you're done. So this is the paper. I have a few of these. I think I brought a handful, so if anybody wants to take one of these for the paper version of this, you can see it is more information that you need to fill out. And we, at some point, will need your new account number to go in this. So again, it's a little bit more convoluted of a process to do the paper version, but it still can happen for you too. So that's going to be the paper form. And then that is it on the transfer process.
Any questions about the transfer process? We'll just grab those now. Yep.
So I was trying to fill out the paper form today, and it asked for my My Benefit Wallet account number. It said it's an 8 to 12-digit number. All I have is a 14-digit number.
Can I see the form?
Yeah. So that's the form. It says 8 to 12 digits, and so I went there, and that's a 14-digit number.
Okay.
So
Yeah, we'll look.
is that the number I should fill in?
We'll look at that.
Okay.
So the question was, someone went to go fill out the paper form and the bank account numbers aren't matching up with the amount of numbers in Benefit Wallet. So that is a great question that we will address and get back to folks on if they're going to use the paper version of it.
I'm wondering if, because there's sort of like a prefix or a suffix that identifies you with the city of Manchester, and I wonder if that's what's missing, maybe, from that account. But we'll figure it out. We'll make sure that it links up to you. Don't worry. We promise.
So you have me thinking, though. Your new bank account number goes in there, I'm pretty sure, not the Benefit Wallet, but now I'm questioning myself of whether, because Benefit Wallet knows your account and off your social. Now we need your new bank account number to go in there. I just reread the instructions there. I'm pretty sure it means your HSA bank number.
Oh, it says from the welcome kit.
It says
From the welcome kit.
Let me see. It looks like HSA bank account number.
Right, and then it says your 8 to 10 digit from your welcome kit.
Yeah, so that's you don't have that yet.
Right.
So yes, so it's your HSA bank account number, not your Benefit Wallet, and you don't have that number yet. So for the people doing the paper form, if we hand those in, we will get a list of account numbers.
We can fill it-
So we'll have to fill it in. So, okay, so
It's more important that we get the paper in time than you filling in
Yes.
that number.
Because
do
we-
that for you.
yes, so what's important about that form? Signature, Social Security, which I'm sure Michelle has, but you should put that in. But your signature is very important with the knowledge that we are going to obtain your new HSA bank account number once those enrollments go through. You'll get that in the welcome kit, which you will definitely get before 2/21. But if you're being proactive, just get it to Michelle and she can fill in that number. So again, it's your HSA bank account number, not your Benefit Wallet number going on that transfer form. Good question.
Just to clarify the blackout date, so it sounds like up to 3/12, we can use our current Benefit Wallet card, and there's a gap from 3/12 to 3/25 or nothing. And then after 3/25-ish, it sounds like you're not totally sure if they put around that, we can then start using the same bank, is that correct?
Correct. So we call it a blackout period so from 3/12 to 3/25, correct. You will not be able to access any of that money, but before 3/12, you can use your Benefit Wallet debit card. That day, it gets shut off. Money goes into banking land, gets transferred to us, It will become available again on 3/25. Good questions.
How do we get EE link? Is it sent to us?
Yeah, you gotta ask me for it.
So
Would you
you
like me to
guys-
send it to you?
Or do we go someplace on it, or how do we get to it?
I'll send it to you. I'll email it to you. Yeah. We've been emailing, we asked retirees too. We didn't want to put it in a piece of paper because you can't click on it. So if you email us, when I get back to my desk, I'll email that right to you. I've got your email. You as well, Kevin? All right, you got it.
My email's on it.
Yeah? You betcha.
What about investments in the HSA? How do those get transferred?
He asked about how the investments are going to work. So Benefit Wallet is going to liquidate it and put it into your account, and then it's all going to get transferred over to HSA Bank. So you can reinvest once you're in HSA Bank.
So
Good question.
if you're someone who follows the market and you see that we're having a really good week this week, or it's projected that, if you're someone who wants to sell and try to sell at peak height, I try not to gamble that, but I do invest my HSA. You can sell your investments prior, liquidate them, and they go back into your cash account. But if not, it will happen when you do this. I don't know the exact day. It's going to be in that time frame after 3/12. So you'd be at the mercy of what the market's doing on the day that it gets liquidated. So again, you can be proactive and watch your money in the next month and say, you know what, this is a good time to liquidate my assets, get it back into my cash account. So, good question.
If we currently have money in our HSA with benefit wallet, but we spend it all before the transfer happens, will they still close out our account of benefit wallet without the fee, even though no money's transferring over?
Sorry, still don't hear that well, but
So the question is, if you spend down your HSA balance that you have now with HSA Bank, with no money left over to transfer, is there going to be a charge? There wouldn't be, right?
so if you spend down your money right now with Benefit Wallet, then no. If there's no money to transfer, then, and there won't be a charge if you do it with the bulk transfer regardless, you're not getting charged. But yes, if you didn't have any money in there, or say you only had $10, they would only be able to pull 10. Whatever's in your account, they could pull from. But yeah, if it's zero, there's no way. And you wouldn't even need to do anything. You just they'll close it out eventually if you spend it down. That's a good tactic too. If you're someone who you miss the boat on the transfer and you end up, you don't want to incur that charge, you can just, because all your new money will go to HSA Bank, you spend that down and they won't be able to charge you a closing fee because it just gets closed automatically.
Just the monthly fee.
Just what?
The monthly fee.
Well, yeah, the
That's
monthly fee. So
$350.
$350, they can charge you until it's gone. Great questions. Any other questions? Okay, so the next few slides, and I'll go quick on this because you've all been on a high deductible health plan or an HSA compatible plan for some time, right? So you know how it works. You know that the IRS allowed us to have these high deductible or HSA compatible plans for the fact of, they had lower premiums, but really the HSA, it allowed people to put aside tax-free money to utilize on medical expenses, medical, dental, vision. So it is still one of the most unique savings accounts out there, right? In the fact that money goes in tax-free, it grows tax-free, and it comes out tax-free. I will talk about some of those benefits, but again, that's how the high deductible health plan works, where that chunk of deductible you are responsible for, but you can use that tax-free money on it. And of course, as always, your preventative care is always covered at 100% of cost. So that is a good thing. And then on the next slide, so just some of those benefits of the HSA. So as I mentioned, there is no other bank account out there. I've tried to figure this out. If there was, there really is not. There's no other bank account and no other money, a retirement account, whatever it is. At some point, they are getting taxed, whether it goes in tax-free or if it's coming out tax-free, or if you're getting taxed when it goes in, might grow tax-free. But either way, at some point, the IRS is touching it. With this account, that is not the case. Again, as long as you're using it on qualified medical expenses. But again, I just talked about that triple tax savings. So the most unique savings account out there, but if you see bullet 2 up there, is people are also seeing it as a retirement account for this reason. And actually, I'll just go to the next slide, talk about some of these benefits. So the money stays with you year after year. Most of us, we were always familiar with traditional healthcare plans where we had the healthcare FSA. We've all heard the term, use it or lose it with the FSA. The HSA does not have that, ever. If you retire, you change jobs, change careers, this bank account is yours. It stays with you year after year. And it grows interest, obviously minimal interest, but you do have the opportunity. We'll talk in a little bit about the investment options with HSA Bank, so you can invest this cash, put it in the market. Those investment capital gains, so the stuff, what you earn on your investments is also not taxed, right? It goes back into your HSA. Even if you earn $10,000, $20,000 in a year, that'd be a very good year, but still not touched or taxed by the government. Goes right back into your HSA and your cash account. You can make changes at any time throughout the year. Again, unlike the FSA, you can change your contribution amounts throughout the year, put less, put more, put it in post-tax. And then another one, anyone can contribute to your HSA. Of course, your employer does, but if you had a wealthy aunt, uncle, whatever it is, they had some excess cash, they could actually put that money into your HSA and you still get the tax write-off. So if you knew there was some money coming to you, they could actually do that. And again, you get the tax write-off. I already mentioned you can reimburse yourself at any time. Again, expense today, could reimburse yourself 10 years from now, tax-free, just hold on to your receipts. A nice thing about the HSA too, I mentioned people are using it more in retirement, and that's because you can use it on Medicare premiums. I mean, Medicare for most is not free. So I think a lot of times people think that, okay, Medicare Part A might come with Social Security, but you're paying premiums for Medicare. So you can use your HSA, again, tax-free on all of these premiums. You can use it on long-term care premiums too. And then all of the expenses that qualify now that we'll talk about, you can also use that in retirement tax-free versus tapping into your 457 retirement account that you have, which would be taxable income coming out. So, and then the last thing I'll mention about after you turn age 65, you end up having hundreds of thousands of dollars in your HSA, which is great, but you're like, you know what? I want a Corvette. I want to go on a cruise. You can actually use your HSA, just like a 457, or in my case, a 401k. You can use it on a Corvette, a cruise, without penalty. You're just taxed like the 401k or like the 457. So essentially this money, again, it's not bad money to put aside and invest, because at some point you may have access to it all tax-free, or you can choose to go on a cruise and just pay taxes on it like you do any other account. So it really is a great account with so many benefits. So I'm done with that, with the benefits part. Again, I told you a little passionate about it, but as far as what you can use it on and who you can use it on. So who we'll start with, of course, you can use it on yourself, you can use it on a spouse, and you can use it on any tax dependents. So the key here is your children do need to be tax dependents. If you're someone who has someone who's on your plan, they're under 26, you love them dearly, so you let them be on your plan, but you don't claim them on your taxes, you just can't use your HSA on them. But there is something really cool that they can do, and I'm going to show you a slide of it because it's better visually explained, but they can also open up their own HSA and put money into it. But I will talk to you if anybody in that situation. It's a really cool loophole that the IRS somehow let slide by where we can put more money aside tax-free. So some of the things that you can use your HSA on, think medical, dental, vision, really anything medically necessary, and obviously from a doctor, but medical equipment, again, hearing aids, hearing aid batteries, not covered by insurance, but I can still access my HSA dollars if I wanted. A boot for a sprained ankle, again, maybe not covered by my insurance carrier, I'll find out. And I could tap into using my HSA dollars, okay? And then if you want a big list, you obviously go to Google Publication 969, IRS, find everything, or check out the HSA Bank website. Who can open an HSA? So I do like to talk a little bit about eligibility because there are some little things the IRS throws in there that you may not be aware of. Of course, number one, this is again about opening and contributing. Once you have the HSA and the dollars, they're yours to use regardless of any of this. I just want to be clear that this is all about continuing to put aside tax-free money, okay? So you have to be on a compatible health plan, which you are through the city. So that's check number one. You cannot be covered by any other non-compatible plan. So if you have secondary coverage and it's not compatible with an HSA, if it's traditional, then you're not supposed to be putting in tax-free money into an HSA. You cannot be claimed as a tax dependent on someone else's tax return. So again, for the kids under 26, they can't open up their own HSA because they're claimed on someone else's taxes. And then I mentioned you cannot be enrolled in Medicare. You cannot be enrolled in TRICARE or have access to VA medical benefits for the last 90 days. Again, just think this is all because they all come with certain tax benefits. And then the last one I'll mention, you can't be covered by someone else's healthcare FSA. This one's tricky because if your spouse has a healthcare FSA and you don't have to be on their plan, they actually cover you. It's again, household. And same thing for the HSA. You have an HSA, they don't need to be on your plan for you to be able to cover them with your HSA. All about taxes per household. So just keep that one in mind. Again, a little tricky on that one.
You have a question? Access the VA benefits. So what are they talking about accessing, having access VA benefits?
So the question, yeah, what are they talking about when we're saying accessing VA medical benefits? That's going to VA hospital, anything like that. And it's within they give you 90 days. It's, again, that's one that we're really hoping changes with legislation. It's the same thing with TRICARE. But yeah, so you can't access it, you can't contribute within that 90-day window if you access some kind of VA medical benefits. There are some stipulations around that if it's in regards to a disability, but they will need proof of that. So if there's anybody with specific scenarios, we'll connect you with the right resources to determine, what is your eligibility if you're someone who's accessing VA medical benefits today. Because every situation is different, so.
Yeah, they are.
Good question. So on top of some of those stipulations, right, who can open it and continue to contribute, the IRS does put some stipulations on how much we can put aside on an annual basis. I will say the last 2 years, we saw the largest increases in the history of HSAs. So in the last 20 plus years, this is the largest jump we've seen so far. So for 2023, you can see it jumped 300 for anybody who's on that self-only plan. You're now going to be able to put aside $4,150. For a family plan, it jumped $550. And now you'll be able to put aside $8,300. So this is, we're happy about this. We think it needs to go higher. I mean, we know why this increased. Just the cost of everything is insane, and it just keeps increasing. So, again, it's good to see how much, because usually it's only $50 and $100 for a family. So good increases. And then if you're over the age of 55, the IRS does let you put in an extra $1,000 into the account. And if your spouse is over the age of 55 and on your plan, they can also put in an extra $1,000. Right now, it has to go into their own account, though. So they'd have to open up, a retail account with us or local bank, whatever it might be. They could put in another $1,000. another change on the horizon. Hasn't been approved, but we're hoping the IRS lets spouses put it right into that same account, but not there yet.
The 8,300, is that including what the city contributes to?
Mm-hmm. That was a really good question. So anything that comes into this account could be from you, could be from your employer, could be from that aunt or uncle, counts towards your maximums for the year. What does not count is the transfer over from Benefit Wallet. And that's why you do need to follow the right process. Like, say you just liquidated, cashed out your HSA from another vendor, and then somehow sent it to us outside of, the transfer process, we wouldn't know it was accounted for in prior years. So the transfer, that's why you do need to fill out that form regardless if you do it with the bulk transfer or not. Follow that process, and that does not count towards the maximum for the year. Okay. All right, so I mentioned we talk a little bit on investments, right? So we have two different investment options. The first one, personally, I love because I am not a savvy or expert in the stock market, nor do I want to be yet. Maybe one day, but this one is all mutual funds, right? So this is a great one. We have a tool that you can complete. It's called the guided portfolio, and based off of what I or you put in, it helps guide me based off of my age, my risk, my risk tolerance, where I'd like to be. And again, it's just a guide because you're not getting, these aren't, it's not a advisor actually speaking with you, right? Which is still all going to be self-directed, but again, it does guide you down what path you might want to take. So I personally, again, I like this one. You have the ability to sweep money into your investments. So anytime my account hits X amount, say $3,500, I sweep in $500 into my investments. I always want to have $3,000 in my HSA. My cash account at least, and then the rest automatically is going into the market. And you can look at it as much as you want, you can change it around. So that's Debonair. With Schwab, you can virtually same thing, but you have access to stocks, bonds, thousands of mutual funds. You're picking these. With the Debonair, they're all pre-picked for you. With Schwab, you're picking them yourself. Again, you can access pretty much anything there. So pretty cool that you can use one or the other, or you can use both. So both really great options, and both for beginners and experienced investors. And this is just something that I like to show a good visual of the why when you think about HSAs in retirement. So you have $100,000 in an HSA or $100,000 in a 457 or a 401k, and $100,000 isn't really $100,000 in that retirement account, right? Because it's going to be taxed. But again, if you're using it on medical expenses, $100,000 is $100,000 in an HSA. So again, just a good visual of kind of the why you think about HSAs in retirement. Okay, so we're nearing the end, I promise. I know it's a lot of information. This is some of the stuff that I'm going to just breeze through because you're going to have access to all of this right when you get your welcome kit from your member website, and you'll be able to look at this stuff and look at the instructions. But first, I just want to talk about some of the account holder changes. So on the next slide, you'll see some of the stuff that we would like you to do. Because again, these are your own bank accounts. You can do this right from your phone on your mobile app. You can do it from your member website. So if you went from single to family, you can change this right on your member website, right on your mobile app. You can call into us 24/7 customer service line. I think we give them, the 4 or 5 major holidays off, but other than that, you're always going to get a person when you call in. If your name changes, if your address changes, anything like that, you want to make sure, again, because these are bank accounts, you do want to update that. And you can do that all with our team too. So you want to, again, call in or do it right from your member website. And then you can order debit cards, order checkbooks, and we'll talk a little bit about authorized signers and what that means. On the next slide.
I think a quick comment about that. So just to remind you, this is your bank account. I can't do any of this for you. So if you change your coverage with us from single to two-person on your medical, we can change that for you, or you will be changing it in our new system yourself, actually. But we can't do it here. So that's why you would need to contact them. And the reason is, you're going to have, I presume, in the portal, you'll be able to see where you are in terms of your maximum contributions. So that way you can monitor that to make sure that you don't go over that. Same thing with your name changes and your address. We can't do that for you. That has to come from you. It's as if you were at Citizens Bank. I can't walk in there and change your information for you. You got to do it yourself. So I just want to reiterate that.
Really great point. And I do see it happen where, you know, employees, like, they need, even date of birth might be incorrect somewhere, something like that, that's really, it's sensitive information. Michelle can't do that on your behalf, the consultant can't do that either, so it is important. Again, we give you the tools, and I promise they will be easier than what you're doing today to access to. And then designated beneficiary, so very, very important. I mean, obviously, it actually doesn't matter how much money you have in there. You could have $10, $100. If something were to happen to you and you don't have a beneficiary, we can't even tell your loved ones how much you have in there, unfortunately, it's so frustrating. I mean, for us, for HR, and obviously with the situation, it's a horrible situation. But that's why it's just so important to try to remember to just designate a beneficiary. You can do primaries, you can do secondaries, so you really have options. There's a paper form. You'll get that in your welcome packet. I have some. And also, I think, again, online, you can do it right from your mobile phone. You just need your loved one's name. You do need their social security. But if you tell them, hey, I'm going to be leaving you money, they should give it to you. So just make sure you have that information handy. And one thing I'll mention on beneficiaries, just for your own knowledge, is that if your beneficiary is your spouse, it goes to them tax-free as their own HSA. If it's anybody other than your spouse, the IRS they tax those people. So if they get that money, still get it. They just would have to pay taxes on it if it's not your spouse.
And if you get divorced, make sure you change your beneficiary. A lot of employees forget to do that.
Yes. Very, very good point on that one. Yes, or if it's a strange ex-girlfriend, boyfriend, yes, that is, because we do need to follow the beneficiary guidelines on that too. Okay, so next slide here. Oh, that's just the paper. So again, option, member website, paper form. You'll have access to both. And then, so adding an authorized signer. So if you're someone in the room, you have a spouse that has access to your funds. Again, regardless if they're on their plan, you have an option of getting them their own debit card and adding them as an authorized signer. No matter what, you could pay for them with your own, they could swipe your card if they had to, but you can actually get them their own card. They'd have access to their own little member website. So it's nice that they could have that, and any tax dependents. Only stipulation with your tax dependents, to get their own card, they have to be over the age of 18 to get their own card. So again, you can do that right online, the member website, and you can even just call the Client Assistance Center and they can actually do it for you too. So just some debit card security protocols. If someone were to swipe your card or take it, they can't go down to the local Starbucks or Walmart and spend thousands and thousands of dollars on your card. We do have stipulations on that where they have to be what we call IIAS approved. So Inventory Information Approval System is what it stands for. But all of these systems that sell medical type equipment, prescriptions, they will have that. And the card will usually decline. Of course, there's situations where you may be at a Walmart or a CVS where you could slide chips in and it could go through. So you have to try to still be mindful of some of the stuff. If you are buying something at CVS and you happen to throw in a candy bar we're not going to come after you, but it could go through. And again, you're not going to get audited for a candy bar going through, but you just might want to be mindful to not do that, right? Because that's not a qualified, as much as it might be emotionally support with chocolate, it still does not qualify. So again, just some other, there's daily limits, you can use your card at an ATM. Again, no charge there. That's to reimburse yourself. You can actually take cash out, but there is a limit of $300. If you were to get a big surgery that wasn't covered by insurance, but you can access your HSA dollars for, there's a $25,000 daily limit with a signature. So again, that's going to be at like a hospital. Typically that would happen. Okay, this is the last slide before the customer service slide I show you, and then we're done. If you have a child on your plan that you do not claim on your taxes, but they're on your plan, this is what I wanted to show you, is the fact that you as the parent can contribute the maximum family amount this year, $8,300, but your non-tax dependent who's still on your health plan, you should probably bump them off at some point, but I'm kidding. They can also put in the family maximum into another HSA. So again, this is something that I think the IRS just forgot to check, because it allows people to put double the amount. If you really love your child, you could help them and seed the money. It's still their write-off though. You don't get the write-off, or anybody can put money into that account, but it's a really great kickstart to some health savings account money for your dependents to get them on their feet. So I think it's a really cool loophole just to mention, and I definitely think it's better explained by visual, so pretty cool. And then customer service, I mentioned it a few times, 24/7, you can call into us. So, if you're busy at work all day and you just don't have time to call in, you could call at 5 p.m., you could call at 3 in the morning if you really want, if you're a night hawk. You can talk to them. You can chat with them. That's going to be during the daytime though, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., that they'll be available to chat. You can email if it's something that you don't need an answer right away. They'll get back to you within 48 hours. And I think I covered all. Chat, email.
What is 100 onshore support?
What is it?
100%
Oh,
onshore
yes.
support?
So onshore, yes. So we also, all our customer service reps are located in the U.S. So actually throughout now, it's COVID days, pretty much, there's no necessarily true home base besides there's some people in Wisconsin, Connecticut, and then they're everywhere. So you never know what kind of accent you'll get calling in, so. And that is it. A lot of information, but we are excited to welcome City of Manchester. We really think it's going to be a good move. We still have a little more work to do with the transition, but we have all the timelines in place and information necessary to make it good for you as of March 1st, 2024. So any other questions?
I have a two-part question. First part, you said maxing out, so the single plan is, the max is the 4150? Okay, so that's what you mean by maxing out?
Yep.
The benefit?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then what is the benefit of maxing out your benefit?
That's a good question. So what's the benefit of maxing out the benefit or the HSA? Because the IRS only allows you to put aside so much on an annual basis, if you don't max it out, you think about what you're missing out on tax-wise. So for we'll say, I think that it's every $1,000 you put aside into your HSA, you're saving $300 that did not go to the government in taxes, at least, really, depending on tax bracket. So that's the true benefit, is you can't go back and add this money for those years that you didn't max out your benefit. So really, it's truly all about taxes and keeping more in your pocket.
And what if we put it like it comes out of our paycheck, our weekly paycheck?
Mm-hmm.
If we do the math wrong, not saying that I'm going to, but if you do the math wrong and you get to the point where you got 3 paychecks left and you've reached your max, does HR not take that money out, or we just got to figure that out?
We won't know.
Well,
You can't see your account, and, yeah.
yeah, and we make it pretty apparent, like, when you log into your account, if you're nearing the maximum, we send you, like, there's banners that come up, like, hey, you're close to your threshold. If you over contribute, it's actually really easy to remove, and I had to do it last year. I did the math wrong. I swear, I do love HSAs, but it happens to all of us. So yes, if you did happen to over contribute, you have up until the deadline, like, of the following year. So April 15th this year, you have to retract any excess contributions from last year. So, and yes, we will notify you if you go over. You'll actually get a letter in the mail, and if you have your email attached to it, it will alert you. So, and actually, that's one more point I want to make about attaching your email. I highly recommend doing that. You can also set up your account under settings where you can set up text notifications for anything like that if you are nearing your limits, or once your account gets at a certain threshold, and then any kind of fraud protection. There's just different things that you'll have access to send you direct text messages from us.
So just a quick tip, check those, say, in October, because you don't want it to be December and you can't get your city's contribution in December because you've over-contributed. So October is a good time to check where you are in your maximums, so we can make adjustments if we need to at that point.
That's from January 1st to the max, so it's
Yeah.
not running out now, it's
Right.
regular count.
It's the tax year calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so regardless, and you guys, yes, you don't run on a true tax year with your plan, but yes, can be a little bit confusing, but true HSAs, you think in calendar year terms. It's all about tax season and when we do our taxes, and 1/1 to 12/31 contributions. Great question.
Go ahead. Sorry, I'm not understanding. So you're saying the city contributes to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when do they contribute? What does it go in each pay period?
So you're a new employee, so your distribution is a little bit different right now. You're in a prorated time frame. So for employees who are not on the plan as of 7/1, you get a prorated amount, and you get it for all of the months in the plan year. So from the month that you start, that you're eligible through June 30th. Come July, now you're going to get the regular contribution. So if you're receiving prorated funds, really do the math, because it'd be very easy to over-contribute if you are also contributing to your HSA. Because you're going to get that, say you're on a single plan, you're going to get $1,500 from July through December, plus whatever you're getting now. See what I'm saying? So the calculator online will really help you, because you can put, yep, I'm getting $125 a month, and then I'm going to get another $1,500, and you'll be able to figure out what you can contribute. Yeah,
As a retiree, can we still contribute?
If you're under the age of 65 and you do not participate in Medicare Part A, yes. So as long as those, the slide that said who can open and contribute, as long as you don't fall under any of those, then you absolutely can still contribute to an HSA.
So how do I get money into the account if it's coming out of my bank account or tax?
So,
Yeah.
So because not on payroll anymore, like any kind of.
So I don't know that you could do it through your pension. You could always ask New Hampshire Retirement if they will do that pre-taxed. I'm going to guess that they don't. But when you do your taxes at the end of the year, then you account for what you've put in after tax, and then you get the benefit at that point.
Yeah, I would say that's the easy route, is instead of going through a pension, putting in your money post-tax, you still get all the same write-offs, especially if your pension is tax-free anyways. Like the reason doing it through payroll as when you're employed is because it does lower payroll taxes for yourself. You're not subject to FICA, Medicare. It comes out before that. But since I don't believe you'd be getting taxed on that anyways. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I would say we can talk offline about that, but you can absolutely put in post-tax, and at the end of the year, it lowers your deductible, your taxable income by, say you put in $4,000, that lowers your taxable income by $4,000, no matter what.
Could you roll over money from an IRA into this?
Yes, that is a really great point. Can you roll over an IRA into an HSA? Once in a lifetime, you can. And I'm sorry I did not mention that, but I don't think I've ever seen it yet happen. But you can do that. So when you do that, I say the later the better, but you can only roll over up to the IRS maximum for that year, though. That does count towards your maximum, unfortunately. I wish it didn't, but for now, but you can roll it over into that HSA. It's a good question. Any other questions? All right, well, thanks so much.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Make sure that you do your e-consents so you don't have to pay that fee down the road. If you have any questions, you know where to find us over in HR, but the e-consent's pretty easy. Took me less than 2 minutes to do, so, and I'll make sure you guys get yours via email. Yeah, great, thank you.